Do you know you could have kidney disease and not even know it? 9 out of 10 people who have stage 3 chronic kidney disease do not know it. The rate of kidney failure for African Americans is 3 times higher than among Caucasians. And one reason for this is that they are not aware when they have earlier stages of kidney disease. At a time, treatment could prevent the damage from progressing to the point when dialysis or kidney transplantation is necessary. In addition, due to high rates of diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, Blacks and African Americans have an increased risk of developing kidney failure. African Americans need to be aware of these risk factors and visit their doctor or clinic regularly to check their blood sugar, blood pressure, urine protein, and kidney function. Be aware. Get tested. The life you save may be your own. For more information, contact urbankidneyalliance.org.
What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of World Kidney News. I'm your host, Steve Belcher. Honestly, it's a special broadcast of Urban Health Outreach Media. I get the two confused, but welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is going to be an awesome show. Share this broadcast. I'm telling you. If you ever wondered if you was alone in trying to get a transplant, you're not. Many people are on the transplant list. And we have one of those people tonight on Urban Health Outreach Media. Now, let me just say something. Kidney disease has no boundaries, okay? It has no boundaries. You know, you can live in the poorest of the neighborhoods or you can live in the richest of neighborhoods. You saw Stevie Wonder. But this guest tonight, you have to wonder. You would think a gentleman that has so much going for him, a lovely wife. In this picture, he's cruising on the boat. Many relatives, support system, right? You would think that a man that can go to New York and be on Fox and Friends, have all this support, outgoing, loving, family man, you would think on the top of the world that he would get a kidney just like that. But it doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. Kidney disease doesn't care whether you're rich, poor, black, or white. So with that being said, we're going to have a special guest all the way from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Gary, a.k.a. POPPA Gary Demberg, and his lovely wife, Jean Demberg. So let me give them the special welcome as we always give our guests. Hey, Gary and Gene, how you doing?
How are you doing, Steve?
Pretty good. How you doing, Gene?
I'm fine.
I'm sorry, Jane. I'm sorry. I done been pronouncing your name all wrong as Jane.
No
How you
big
doing?
deal. We're doing great.
We're doing good tonight.
Great, great. I'd just like to give a shout out to my friend Jim Benson before I start. I know she doesn't like all the pomps and circumstances, but I just had to say that. So what's going on, Jen? So guys, how y'all doing down there in Fort Lauderdale? What's the weather like?
I don't think you really want to know, but it's about 84 degrees today.
Oh man, I'm jealous.
Quite a nice day. Make up for the week of rain that we had.
Sure. Do you ever get concerned now that you're on dialysis that some type of tropical weather or natural disaster may force you from your home?
Yes, and I researched what do you do in a hurricane, which we have many of, and I got a lot of information from the dialysis center, how they're set up and what we should do in a hurricane.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Gary, I mean, by looking at your pictures, I mean, I'm sure you're probably a successful businessman. You travel, you got family. How did kidney disease creep into that life that you was living?
Well, I'll start with you have the idea that this can't happen to me. It has to be somebody else. But it all started in about 9/11. I went for a surgical procedure, and the doctor came in before the surgery, and he said, "You only have 50% kidney function." Well, it shook me right away because, I've always had my blood pressure taken. I've always had my sugar tested, and it was quite a surprise at 50%.
You said 15 or 50?
50.
Oh, okay. So, did they give you any information at that time on how to kind of halt the progression so it wouldn't increase?
Not at that time. I was more interested in just getting the surgical procedure taken care of. But directly afterwards, I started pursuing the information about kidney research.
Wow. And so when you did your research, when did it come to you? So, because you was looking for a kidney for about 2 years before you started dialysis, correct?
Yes, went through the progression of 50%, 30%. When we got around 25%, we started the kidney diet, which we followed very strictly until we got a period of 2 years. And
Kept you off diet.
the diet really kept us prolonged the use of my kidney.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, when you found out at 50% and you did your procedure, the surgical procedure, and then afterwards, at what point did you take it seriously that I need a kidney transplant?
Well, you hope that you're going to stay at that 50%, but over the couple of years, it was steadily decreasing, and I knew from my research where this was going to end up. So we started on a program to see if we could receive a kidney from a donor.
Because it stayed around 30% as a plateau for a while. So we thought maybe we're going to be lucky. But 2 years ago, it started that big decline. That slide, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it started going to 20% and then went down to 15 within 4 months.
4 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Gary, looking at this picture, it seems like you have a big support system. Now, have a lot of these people been tested?
Yeah.
And if they have, do you know what's the reason why the disqualification? Because it seems like so many people that it has to be a match somewhere in there, if not directly, maybe a paired shared exchange.
Well, we had a good support group, and we went through family first. And because of family members with either cancer or other problems,
Sure.
they were ruled out pretty much right up front.
It was amazing what we found out about family members with high blood pressure, kidney stones, skin cancer.
Wow.
So those things disqualified people medically.
Well, I mean, it almost seems like it's a curse and a blessing at the same time, because, I mean, at least those people found out that something may be pending or going on with those complications, but at the same time, it disqualified them from being a donor. And I just want to say, I apologize for not getting the information to both hospitals that you're listed at. And if Dawn is watching, I'm sure she is, if you could list the information in the comment section of the broadcast, I would definitely appreciate it. And again, I apologize. And if you have it on hand, Gary or Jane, you could, give us that, when you're ready or when we come to it. But so Gary, at what point did the doctor come to you and said it's time to go on dialysis?
Well, probably a year and a half ago, the nephrologist said, you better get ready for dialysis. And you try to stall it off as long as you can. And I did for about another year.
Awesome.
But when it started getting right down to it, you don't realize how it creeps up on you. I was tired, no energy, really had a problem doing things in the beginning of the summer, June, July, August. And I ended up on dialysis August 18th.
Mm-hmm.
We have to give the nephrologist a lot of credit. Remember this spring, he suggested that Gary be proactive and have a fistula done on his arm in preparation for the inevitable dialysis.
Which made the transition much easier. I didn't have to go any emergency room or special surgery or anything of that nature. I walked into the dialysis center on a Friday and then started with the fistula for dialysis on Monday.
Yeah, I'm sure it was ready by that time.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Now, before you started dialysis, and you were doing the search for the transplant. How did you end up in New York on Fox and Friends?
Well, that was all Jane's doing, so I'll let her.
Jane, could you talk on that? Because there may be some people that's watching that's in the same situation as Gary, looking for a kidney, and they may not know where to turn or how to market or promote themselves to find a donor. So can you just share how that idea came to light of, going to New York with the whole banner and being on Fox and Friends?
Yeah, what we did originally, we started out with the local newspapers. They did a feature article on Gary, and then we bombarded Facebook, and we weren't really getting the response. But there was a New York City policeman, a detective from Brooklyn, who contacted me through Facebook, and he said, I can help you. And he was the one that helped pave the way to contacting the people on the Good Morning Show and Fox News, and there's a third one, but the response that we got was from Ed Henry on Fox News. And it was the time when he was donating his liver to his sister. So
wow.
he was very connected to the idea of looking for a donor. And so he gave us a date. He said, be there at 7:30 in the morning in New York City on the corner of 55th and whatever. And we rented a minibus, and we all jumped in Long Beach Island and had our T-shirts and banners, and we went on Fox News.
There was 10 of us in that van.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this picture one more time. You got a shot. Is that you, Gary?
That's a great picture.
And Jane? Who is that beside you?
That's our next door neighbor. That is
Kathy.
No, that is Jan Langborn. She's a teacher in New Jersey, and she was one of the biggest cheerleaders for us.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Now, Gary, I definitely had to credit your wife. Do you think, Gary, if you didn't have Jane in your life and you got hit with this disease, do you think you'll be dealing with it much differently?
Oh, absolutely. So she was the force that pushed a lot of things, and we were exposed to a lot more people than we would have been by either just Facebook or local ads. From Fox News, we got calls from all over the country.
Many of them were veterans.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you a veteran, Gary?
No, I'm not a veteran.
Oh, okay. That's okay. But I mean, that's amazing that you got calls from veterans.
Veterans,
yes.
Yep.
Wow.
From Wisconsin, from all over. And they were willing, but had difficulty with the medical criteria.
Yeah.
Right?
They were willing, but they had a lot of problems.
Yeah. But eventually we had 5 people that made it to step 1. But then it was down to 2, and then COVID hit, and it really put the brakes on.
That kind of stopped everything.
Right.
And my blood type is O, which presented a little bit of a problem also.
Yeah, we could still do a paired exchange.
Yes.
So that would work.
It seems like a lot of people are O.
Yes.
That's the kind of biggest hurdle. And Donna just sent me a text, and we're going to talk about Donna in a minute. You're listed at Presbyterian Columbia in New York City.
That's correct.
And at the Cleveland Clinic in Florida. And
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
You already mentioned that your blood type is O, but can also accept donors through the paired exchange program as well.
Yes.
Now, did you want to say something, Jane?
Well, I wanted to add that
Sure.
through the Cleveland Clinic of Florida, we are listed with the National Kidney Registry, and it's a service that the Cleveland Clinic works with. And we get weekly reports on Gary's website through that agency, and how many people hit the website, how many people read Gary's story, and how many people try to be donors.
That's awesome. Now, we got a lot of comments, people comment. I want to go back over them, but on this journey, when you first started, Gary and Jane, I'm sure you didn't know the people that you know now on Facebook. Did you, when this hit you, I know you mentioned how this happened to you. Do you think you was in denial a little bit?
Well, I'm a very positive person, so you have to go forward and get some help somewhere.
Sure.
But it's hard to ask.
Right.
You know, personally, to go up to someone and say, would you share your spare kidney?
Right. Can I have it?
Can I have it?
No, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, but if someone else could get a transplant, I mean, you can too, but I can understand what you're saying if you've never been in that situation before, and now you find yourself in a situation where, you know, you're asking someone to save your life with their spare organ. So no, that's very understandable, and that's why we're here tonight. I mean, whatever we can do to help get your message out. And I also mentioned to you when we talked several days ago, if you ever have, you know, any questions or any concerns that you can't get answered from your dialysis center or your nephrologist, or you wake up in the middle of the night, or sometime you have a question that you can't reach a nephrologist or the clinic, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I have many people do that, and if I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll tell you.
Right.
So I say all that to say that, you know, we welcome you with open arms, you know, in this community to try to help you find a living donor or whatever else support you may need in going through this journey.
You know, a kidney could come from anywhere. You don't know. It could be somebody that knows you, or just a strange person that wants to help.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because we had a gentleman on our show, Donna's brother-in-law, Nick Salter, out of New Jersey, Uncle Nick. And he was on my show, Sunday Morning Transplant Coffee Talk. And he was still looking for a donor. And lo and behold, I'm not sure how long after he was on the show, but his neighbor, the guy that lived 2 houses over, donated to him.
Wow.
Awesome story. His name is Rob. I can't remember his last name, and I don't want to mess it up. But, I mean, the neighbor, after all this time, Nick looking for a kidney, his neighbor is secretly getting tested behind the scenes and surprise him. So, like you said, POPPA Gary, you just never know where it may come from.
Right.
You just never know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Did the doctors ever mention that your age may play a factor in this?
Yes, very, very apparently. Now I'm 76, and that makes it a lot harder to get a kidney.
Well, let me say this. I was thinking about you today, and I'm not just saying this because we on air. I kid you not. I've been doing this 33 years, and back in the 90s, there was a gentleman, black gentleman, Reverend Bishop Bowens. I can't remember his first name. And this was in the 90s. And he was 75 years old and got a transplant. I mean, he invited me to his church. So I just want to, encourage you that don't let that, because you just turned 76, be a deterrent or a distraction, because we never know what God has planned. And so, I don't know, I just thought about this gentleman earlier today when I was thinking about the show and the pictures and everything and how I was going to do this interview. And he just came to my mind. So I just hope that would give you some encouragement to, keep going and doing what you're doing. Because at some point,
I look at it this way, Steve. Maybe I'll make another 76 years if I get a kidney.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how did you meet Donna Tassad? She seems to be all over the place. I mean, I met her, or she met me through, she was advocating for a brother-in-law, and evidently she saw what we were doing on social media, and she was gracious enough to reach out to me and ask me to have her brother-in-law on the show. And then since then, it just seems like this has kind of like been her newfound thing, this advocacy and helping other people. And you don't normally see anything like this. Maybe somebody advocating for their family member, and once they get the kidney, they just stop and go on with their life. How did she come into your life, POPPA Gary?
We met Donna in October a year and a half ago, and at Long Beach Island, New Jersey.
Okay.
What they put on a program of Chowder Fest, and we put banners up in the street. We put up a table, and Donna came over, and
with her brother-in-law.
And she told us his story, and from then on, we've been in contact with her.
And what we did was set up a booth. That one picture that you see with everybody, with that one, with all the balloons. We had a booth, that Chowder Fest. There were like 40,000 people there.
Wow.
And we had postcards, balloons, banners, T-shirts, and got that word out. And Donna came up and said, "I'm Donna, and I'm here to help." And we're like,
what?
Wow.
Oh, Donna to the rescue.
Never saw her before.
Oh, man.
Never met her
you
before.
go. We got to, you know what? At some point, I don't know, Donna, I think Donna's a little camera shy. But we got to have her on the show. She advocates for a lot of people. And then it's Rob Canizzo. And he's on here watching. And he said, yes, Donna Tassad is such a wonderful person and a great advocate. And Rob, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on the show, what you did, and thank you for your service. That's Reed, that's the ambulance person, but even for your service on donating to Nick.
Well, just think about it. Donna is still with us. So it was October 2018, and it's October 2020. And she's still out there advocating for Gary.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see too many people like that take their time and effort to advocate for someone else for a kidney transplant. You don't see too many people like a Donna Tissot or a Jen Benson, Jonathan Traylor. I mean, I wish it was enough, advocates to make this mainstream. And that's what we're trying to do here at Urban Health Outreach Media, is get the word out and do everything we can to let people know about this disease, because it's no joke. I mean, especially when you go back and forth to outpatient treatment. Now, speaking of that, POPPA Gary, when did you start outpatient treatment, and was the option of doing home dialysis ever mentioned to you? Because it seems like you have an excellent support system that would not be an issue for you.
Yeah, we looked at, we had approximately a year and a half, 2 years. So we looked into both processes, home dialysis or outpatient. And we figured for us, the best choice was outpatient at this time. We could change and do home, but right now we're only at it for 2 months. So it's a matter of getting comfortable with the treatment that works for you, because it is a large adjustment to your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, we also looked at if you use a fistula or if you use a port system. And if you did it at home, it would be a port system. And we are used to being outside. We're used to being by the water. With a port system and doing it at home, it would not be easy with what normal lifestyle we'd like to live.
You pick what is best for you.
Sure, absolutely. Whatever option works for you. Absolutely. And I can understand by you being in the water. And let me bring that picture up because I'm jealous. Right there. I had a 19-footer Bayliner. No, I'm sorry, a 21-footer with a little cuddy cabin long time ago. But no, I can understand if you're around the water a lot that you would rather have a fistula opposed to having a tube coming out your stomach or coming out your chest. Yeah.
We were afraid of infection too.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You can actually do home dialysis with your fistula as well, but I don't know how comfortable Jane feel putting the needle in. She doesn't look like she want to put a needle in your arm.
Maybe some days, yeah.
Right. Now, Gary, how much time out of your life does it take to go in to outpatient treatment where you could be doing other things? I mean, how much time is that taken away from like your business or and your personal life?
Well, your time at the center is 3.5 hours. So you got to figure a half hour to get there, half hour to get home. So you're close to 5 hours of your day, 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the alternative is not an option.
You got to look at it as a job.
Sure.
Part-time job, 3 days a week.
Now, Gary, have you ever experienced any of the unwanted symptoms that may happen to some people on dialysis, like nausea or vomiting, cramping, or low blood pressure?
No, I haven't had any of those symptoms. It's been pretty smooth transition to it. Once the fistula matured a little bit more with the use, no, I haven't had any problems like that.
Oh, all right. And POPPA Gary, let me just say, this is just a suggestion as a nurse. Make sure when they sticking you to rotate your sites. And what I mean by that is they should have, like when they put the fistula, when they put the first needle in, the arterial, it should be 2 finger widths apart from the venous. Or the venous should be much higher. But again, even when they go back the next day and restick the next time you go back, when they stick, tell them to go 2 fingers width from where they went the last time. And
they kind of use the ladder effect.
Exactly. Oh man, you already hip to it. No, I can go get the material. I got education that talks about the ladder rotation. Whoever told you that, they on it, because that is exactly right. Because what that does, it prevents what we call aneurysms. Those are the knots that form because when you go in the same spot, it weakens that area. And then with the blood, with your access and the high velocity of blood flowing through that access, it's going to stretch the skin. And that's where the aneurysms come in. So we do try to educate on that, especially when I was doing dialysis. And a lot of people, they didn't want to hear it. They want you to go in the same spot because it doesn't hurt, opposed to going into a new spot. So, that's kudos that you know that, because a lot of people wouldn't have spit out and said the ladder rotation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you're your own advocate.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Gary does carry the binder with everything organized in it.
Oh, you mean the Foster's binder?
The boss's binder, yes.
Right. And I'm sure they told you to, when you eat it with the meals and not before or after, but while you're eating the meal, that's when you take the pill.
Yes. If I know I'm going to eat anything with a lot of phosphorus or toxins in it, will use that pill before I eat. And it does work because all my blood numbers are really good.
That's awesome.
Everything is right in line.
Right on the money.
Yes.
Well, Gary, let me just say this. Has anyone said to you, you don't look like you're on dialysis?
Yes.
I know there's no look to it, but I'm looking at you and you don't look like you're on dialysis.
Well,
I don't mean that to say it like, I know you need a kidney and I don't take that lightly, but a lot of warriors say that, that especially that's getting good dialysis, good treatment, looking well, eating right, and doing everything they're supposed to do, you don't look like it, but you can tell if somebody's not getting a good treatment, they missing their dialysis sessions, if they got a catheter and it's not working well, or they're getting off dialysis early and they not eating right, you can tell. I'm sorry.
But you have to stay with the regimen, whether it's taking your medicines, being on time at dialysis, and not skip around. Very critical.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's more critical, especially for your overall being of health.
Yep.
So are you worried?
Exercise.
Are you worried that going into in-center may decrease your traveling in spite of the COVID? Wait a minute. Let me see something. I had a picture of you. Wait a minute. That I downloaded. It was you at the Eiffel Tower.
That's correct.
Wait a minute. I thought I downloaded that picture. Well, I'm not going to focus on that. But the point is, Gary, do you feel like going in center now will decrease your travel plans? Have you been informed that you can still travel in light of having to go to dialysis?
Yes, like I said before, it's a total change of life. I am want to get used to, let your body get used to it, make sure everything is working, and maybe by this summer we'll start traveling again, and
Oh, that's awesome.
we'll go back up to New Jersey for the summer and switch dialysis center, see how that works out, and then we'll see if we can plan a trip.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Right.
You got to stop by Washington, D.C. You coming up 95.
Yeah. We have relatives up there.
Oh, in Washington, D.C.?
I'll say one other thing, Steve. Exercise plays a big part in how you feel.
I'm sure.
And whether you walk, bicycle, or whatever the form you use,
yeah.
It really helps.
And speaking of that, I swear I thought I downloaded those pictures because funny that you mentioned that, because you had a picture that you and your wife do bike riding and walking and get out and do a lot of physical activity.
We try. It's it's only been 2 months, and for that past 6 months before that, couldn't even walk to do any exercise.
So let me ask you, do you feel a lot better now, like your energy level and your overall well-being? I mean, I know you're probably not going to feel 100 because, your kidney function, but I mean, do you pretty much feel that you have energy? Because a lot of people mention their first month or two after they get off dialysis, they got to go home and go to sleep, and they can't do nothing until the next day. And then by the time they kind of get back to, they feel in their like they usually feel, it's time to start that process all over again. Is that different for you, Gary?
I see it can happen. I noticed there's a difference on Monday morning's treatment rather than Wednesday and Friday, because the treatment is you got a 2-day lapse in between. So you got Saturday and Sunday. So Monday feels a little bit different. Being tired, if you let yourself get in that rut, it can happen to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the idea is to keep busy with things that interest you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mentioned Uncle Nick once before, because I think y'all may be kind of around this. I'm not sure how old Uncle Nick is, but I wanted to know, by you being at the clinic for about 2 months now, have you met any other patients or gotten close to any other patients there?
Not really. I go in 9 o'clock, I'm out by 1. So it's not very easy to communicate when you're hooked to a machine. So I would say no, I have not met anybody.
Well, in our building, though,
I have one gentleman that lives in our building that is on dialysis, but he's at a different center.
Mm-hmm.
but he shared a lot of his story.
Gave me a lot of heads up and a lot of information to start with. He filled me in on what to expect at different times.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Uncle Nick. Uncle Nick is 65. I didn't want to put him 10 years more than what he was. Sorry about that, Uncle Nick. God bless him. He was on that show. I would like to meet him in person. One day I will. He's 64.
Okay.
Oh, Nick
every year counts.
Yeah. I don't know. Janet said he's 64, and Donna and Nick said he's 65. So, wow. But no, I can understand that. So you pretty much go in, get your treatment, and going back home.
Yep. I drive there every session, and I drive home.
Oh, that's awesome. Now let me ask you, by you just starting dialysis and never being inside a clinic before you started, is there anything you would change that you see right now that's going on in these clinics? Because there's no secret that DaVita and Fresenius are the two leading dialysis corporations, with Warren Buffett being a major shareholder of DaVita Dialysis. Now, by this being pretty much a chain business, is there anything that you think could change on the deliverance of care at the facility where you're at that could probably enlighten anyone that's watching the show right now that maybe get ready to start dialysis at one of these large clinics?
I'd like to see smaller centers, more or less of a hospital setting. I think that would be a great improvement for the people's attitude, for the feeling that you have for the time you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's 4-to-1, right? 4 patients.
At DaVita, which the center I go, is 4 patients to 1.
Yeah. We talked about that. I kind of figured that out, because I'm just going to go off for a minute. Down south, that's what they do. I worked down in Georgia, almost landed in Florida, but they 4-to-1, 5-to-1. I had a friend work in North Carolina at a Fresenius, 7-to-1. This is what they do, and this is why I advocate so strong about these clinics, because there's no way, with the complexity and what it takes to do dialysis, even though a lot of people outside the field, like CNAs and people who walk by and see us doing dialysis and see us sitting down after the fact, think it's easy, but there's no gray areas in that. And so, with that being said, and you got all these facilities out there, you got to know what you're doing. And so that's why you have 4 patients to 1 person.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily make a mistake, because reason why I say that, for instance, POPPA Gary, if you're on and you come off in 15 minutes and then somebody else come off in 10 minutes before you come off, and then somebody come off 20 minutes, like 5 minutes after you. I don't know how they spread it out and put the patients on, but I'm sure there's maybe been a time when your buzzer went off and you may have had to wait a minute or 2, or they was putting somebody on. If it didn't happen to you, it does happen at a lot of these clinics where somebody may have got off before you, and somebody's sitting out there waiting to go on, and you come off in 10 minutes, and they try to put that person on before you come off, and they, your buzzer go off, they're putting this person on, and they're trying to move back and forth, not even practicing safe infection control practices, and your buzzer go off, and they're, silencing it along with the same pair of gloves that they're using for the other person. I don't know, but the point is, when you're dealing with more than 3 people, and when you start getting 4 or 5 to 1 technician, and that technician not really thorough in what they're doing, there is a possible opportunity for mistakes.
Yes.
That's everything I said, which I know I was long-winded, but the main thing is to err is human. And when you got that many patients and you're doing dialysis, it just increases the risk a lot higher.
Yeah, like I said before, you have to be your own advocate, and you have to pay attention to what's going on in the center. But I can say the techs that I have are consistent. I've had the same tech every day for the last 2 months. I'm on the same schedule as she is. So she's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that works. And they're very attentive to your needs and the machine. I guess I'm lucky.
I think.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, I can say that because for a lot of people, that's not the situation. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that, in an unfortunate situation, that you weren't able to find a donor before starting dialysis, that you were able to get into a facility where the caregivers or the nurse or the technicians there have your best interest and is definitely looking out for your care.
Okay, I'm going to add something.
Sure.
From day one, we requested that we have the printout of Gary's session that DaVita puts into their computer system. So we're able to monitor his fluid, his weight, whatever additives they're putting into the dialysis. So they know that we're watching very carefully. And
right.
So I think maybe, I don't want to say that I was pushy, but I was Gary's advocate to say we want those printouts every time.
No, and absolutely. I mean, in the patient's rights and responsibilities, it says you're entitled to it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know.
Well, they're nervous. They're afraid to ask. But if you ask, they'll produce it.
Absolutely. But, POPPA Gary, I want to tell you, I just guess maybe it's the area where I'm at. But with some people, we give them the all the information, the paperwork, a mission packet that they sign, consent form, and they take it and they, put it to the side and don't, really get into it and read everything that, they entitled to, or if they need to make a complaint or whatever the case may be. And I encourage, if anybody's watching and they do undergo outpatient dialysis, get your treatment records, get a binder, and put those records in a binder so you can know what your blood pressure is, what your weight was previously. You can keep track of all that. So if there's any discrepancies, you have the paperwork. You may get pushback, but this is your right.
Yes.
So, wow. Andrea Kostek agreed with you. She said, my sound went out, but I agree with the opinion of smaller dialysis centers, so it's more personal and not commercial like a piece of property, rather like a person whose life was just turned upside down and has fears and hopes and dreams of a cure. Absolutely.
Well said.
Well said.
Absolutely. But the way these clinics got it set up, I mean, it's no secret that they're set up almost as a commercial basis because they're for profit.
Yes.
And if anybody knows business model 101, I mean, you don't get into business unless it's nonprofit to not make money. So, and healthcare is no different, but the difference is there needs to be more responsibility and accountability in raising awareness for disease that you treat, that diabetes and hypertension are the two leading causes, but you won't put any education on those two main leading causes that causes the disease that you're in business for.
Mm-hmm.
So Gary, was it diabetes or hypertension that caused your kidney failure?
Both. I think there's a possibility that I was born with one undersized kidney and take the high blood pressure and diabetes, and you got a storm ready to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
trust me, my blood pressure was never super high. I was always right on the borderline, and the same with my diabetes. I was just over the top of the low numbers.
You were never on insulin.
Huh?
You were never on insulin.
No, never on insulin.
mm-hmm.
And so even if you're slightly diabetic and you have blood pressure problem, it doesn't have to be super high to get you in trouble.
Right. Let me ask you, were you taking a medicine called metformin?
Is there another name for it?
Oh, I don't know the generic name. That's it's a diabetic medication. That's the trade name, metformin.
No. I was on a diabetic medicine for quite a few years, but for the last 4 or 5, I haven't been on any diabetic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
You controlled it by diet.
Like more than diet.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So Gary, as we come down to the end of the show, let me just say this again. You're located at Presbyterian.
Columbia Presbyterian in New York City.
Would you happen to have a number for them?
Yes, we do.
Give me a minute. Keep talking.
Okay. So if somebody's watching, no, take your time. Take your time. So Gary, what would you say to someone watching the show right now who may be in stage 4, stage 5 kidney disease, or maybe even stage 3, Gary? You mentioned that you held off about 2 years before you actually started when you found out your numbers were at a declining rate. What would you suggestions that you would give if someone's watching if they're in that same situation?
Diet. And it helps. It really does. But you have to be strict about it. They all publish the kidney diet. There's many books
Jonathan.
on it.
Uh-huh.
And it's not an easy diet, but
tell your wife Donna got it. Tell Jane Donna found it, and I have it right here on the screen.
There it is. Yep, that's Columbia Presbyterian, New York City.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right, let me
And the other center is Cleveland Clinic in Weston, Florida.
all right. So guys, if you want to donate, if you know somebody, right here, this is Columbia Presbyterian number 212-305-2239.
And
Right.
Cleveland Clinic is the website.
Cleveland Clinic is www.nkr.org/ABN574. And that is the Kidney Foundation.
Right to your site.
That'll
is
go
this it
right
right here?
to
Yes.
POPPA Gary's site.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. National Kidney Registry.
Yes.
That's awesome. So you said the biggest takeaway, Gary, is the diet.
Yep. Yeah. My biggest thing that I had to give up was pizza.
Oh, Angie said she lived 9 blocks from that hospital in New York. Oh, okay. Wow. Now, Miss Jane, what would you suggest to spouses whose husband may get diagnosed and fall in that same position you fell in? What words of encouragement or what suggestions can you give on dealing with this disease?
Yeah, the hardest part is thinking that it was our fault or my fault. I didn't do enough support or whatever it was, but you just have to believe that there is someone out there and you don't give up. It's really difficult to keep that positive attitude all the time. So you need people and good friends that are there, supporting you. And don't be afraid to ask anyone. Go up to the newspapers, the media, the Elks Club, the Boy Scouts, your church, your schools. We had a friend, two of her teachers that she was teaching with, one of them qualified to be a donor for her husband. So you never know. You just have to keep asking. It's like a roller coaster sometimes. And you get depressed and you need a breather, but you get right back up and you keep asking.
Oh, okay. I think I made a mistake. Is it ABN 54 or 574? Donna had
574.
574.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
You were right.
Because Donna had 54. So I just wanted to make sure that's what Donna had right there.
No, it's
574.
Okay. Okay, great. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to hold you. I mean, this has been a great interview. POPPA Gary, I definitely want to thank you and Jane for coming on and sharing your story. And I hope you can, keep us updated on your journey. If you get a transplant, let us know.
Sure.
And so we could bring you back on and, see how you feel and talk about your experience and how, when you found out about the call.
Okay, Steve.
We
been a
keep
very
hoping.
Keep open.
Yeah. Anybody you want to say hello to before we let you go? Anybody? Any family
I'd like
members?
to say my 2 daughters and my 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
And it's very difficult because we're in Florida here. They're in New York and New Jersey, and haven't seen them in a while.
Right. No, I can definitely understand that. But I'm sure, like you said, you're going to be doing some traveling up north. So like you can always set that up, find a clinic near their house, right around the corner, and just, normally let me just tell you this, if this will help. A lot of clinics, if they're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the heaviest days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Those are premium shifts. If you could, normally if a clinic is open on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, they may have 2 shifts. Some of them may have 3. But those are normally the light days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So just wanted to throw that out there. You decide to travel and they may not say they have an opening or something. You can always see if you can go opposite of the days that you go at your clinic in Florida.
Right. When you're new at it and you don't know enough to ask those questions on time, days of the week, and you walk in and this is what they give you, so you take that.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what they do. I mean, so that's the one advantage about doing home dialysis. A lot of people don't have to worry about that type of schedule.
Right.
So, again, you got to do what works best for you. There's benefits and, there's advantages and disadvantages to each treatment option. Don't matter which one you choose, there's always going to be advantage and disadvantage. So it got to fit your situation in order for it to work.
You never know. I may adjust to giving needles.
Yeah, look, there's been many people that we had on the show that at first they no, I can't do it, I can't. But now since they've done it, they feel more empowered. They feel a lot better, a lot more energy because they do it so often. Like, for instance, if you go to the clinic and you said you're 3.5 hours, right?
Yes.
So that's 10.5 hours a week, something like that. Well, we know that the kidneys work 24/7 in a healthy person. So the more dialysis, the better you feel. When a lot of people, what they do at home, they may do 5 days a week. They may do Monday through Thursday, maybe 5 or 6 hours, during the night. I'm just throwing this out there, like, give you an example, where if they did 5 hours, 4 days a week each night, that's 20 hours a week compared to 10.5. So that's 10.5 hours of treatment that they're getting. That makes a big difference. So there's a lot to think about when you're talking about home and in-center. And again, the benefits and the disadvantages to each option. So, well, Gary, I want to thank you so much again, you and Jane, for coming on. I'd like to thank Donna Tassad, Jim Benson for recommending you to come on the show. And definitely will keep you in prayers, POPPA Gary, that miracle is going to happen sooner than later.
It will.
Okay, Steve. Thank you very much. And it's been my pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, same here. And again, you and your wife have my number. If at any time you feel you want to reach out, please don't hesitate to do so.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night. Guys, this has been an awesome show. I mean, like I said, kidney disease doesn't matter. Black, white, rich, white, poor. It's going to hit you. It's going to hit you. I just got to say, to make the moment a little light, man, I'm jealous. I got to get down Florida. I got a niece down there, I got to do some traveling real soon. I can't wait soon enough for the settlement money come in, but man, look at that. Who wouldn't want to be on the boat getting some sunshine? However, one thing I don't know if Gary knew, and like I said, options, to each his own. But if this was me, I think I would have peritoneal because I can go in the bottom of the ship, do my treatment. I'm just talking me. And if I knew what I knew, I make sure that that catheter is really wrapped up, that it's tight sealed, that I'm not getting in the water or anything. If I do, I'm going to sit on the side of the starboard and wave my feet in there. But if you had a ship like this or a boat, you can go down and do your treatments below. That's the beauty of home dialysis. So, but again, to each his own. If this was me, that's what I'll be doing. I wouldn't be going in no clinic. I'll be right there on my boat, getting the raise, doing dialysis, and living life, and being on the transplant list as well. So yeah, guys, please. If I know everybody, a lot of people may be watching, may be looking for a donor themselves, but share this broadcast. We all in this together. Support POPPA Gary and Jane Demberg. You can go to her page on Facebook, share, reach out to Donna Tassat, and just share. We got to share everybody. Who knows? I mean, you never know. Somebody may reach out and could be a multiple chain of people in the kidney community. I mean, something like that could be set up if you have people in place and if you have multiple donors and you have people set up. You can set up a multiple chain with kidney warriors in the community. I don't know how that can work, but I know something like that could possibly work if, some time and effort was put in it. So let me go through the comments right quick. Donna said he has a beautiful boat. I saw it. Yeah, it's definitely nice. I can't think of that show. Oh, Below Deck. Yeah, one of those type of boats. Jonathan Trailer says, me too. Thanks for watching, Donna, Jonathan. Yeah, he could do home dialysis on a boat. That's what I was just saying. I mean, I would, and I hope Jane and POPPA Gary think about that, really, because I really believe he would be better, especially in natural disasters. He wouldn't have to leave home. If a Hurricane Sue or Betty, come through that area, he wouldn't have to be at the mercy of the clinic, worrying about the clinic call and say, no, come in this time. No, come in that time. And how I know, because I've been through it. Because we got to prepare. We don't know who's going to come in, who's not going to come in. You may have staff that be able to get out to report to work. But what if you get to the clinic and say the patients show up, but only 3 staff show up? Then what? I mean, you're going to have the staff run around with their head, cut off like chickens. You're going to, you only can put on so many patients at a time, but companies like DaVita will have you trying to do something where even if you got 3 or 4 staff and you got 15 or 20 patients, they're going to damn sure make sure you put them on. Somewhere or other, you're going to run them, and whether it's safety or not, you don't think they're going to let people walk out and come back because they're going to use, you got to have your treatment, but yet, they want to see those machines running so they can get paid. And that's the bottom line. I'm just being honest with it. I mean, they wouldn't have all these clinics if there wasn't a money maker. It's just like Domino's, Subway, Burger King. It's just like that, but it's healthcare. And that's where Urban Health Outreach Media, shows like Jonathan Trailer, Hope with Jonathan, Donna Tassad, the Brown Brothers, and Transplant Talk with Nashonda, and the shows that we're doing, we're trying to put a bullseye on this disease and show the amount of people that is affected. And it doesn't matter the color barrier. I always say that in dialysis, that kidney disease doesn't have a bullet on it. And it's just unfortunate for some people. And the reality is, you got people that's poor, you got people that's rich, you got people that's middle class. And it's just so unfortunate that people who are less fortunate gets hit with the disease, and they fall into that spiral of injustice, lack of resources, and other things like that. So the common denominator here tonight is kidney disease. That's the common denominator here. It's not color, it's not class, it's not whether you're rich or poor, it's kidney disease. And so that's what we have to keep the focus on and make sure that everybody in this community is taken care of, whether it's mentally, physically, resources, networking. We got to look out for each other. And that's what if not we, I'm damn sure going to make sure that I bridge or bring some type of gap together to anchor everybody for support, whether it's oh no, well, this is an old shirt, and this is Transplant Coffee Talk, the show that we had. But yeah, guys, we're gonna help. Donna, you got any more people you want me to interview? Jonathan, Aaron, Jen, Sabrina. Thank you, Sabrina, for tuning in. Look, guys, we just want to be that support system. We haven't seen anything like it in this community, and we want to be the trendsetter and the place where people that's dealing with chronic kidney disease, whether you had a transplant, whether you're on dialysis, whether you're in the 5 stages, that it's a place you can come to get education, information, inspiration, and any other content that you may be looking for that can help you on this journey with kidney disease. Nobody asked for it, but we're going to be here to help you every step of the way. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Again, I want to thank Donna Tassad, Jen Benson for recommending and bringing Mr. and Mrs. Demberg to Urban Health Outreach Media. We look forward to more guests, more people. And like I said, go to Stream TV, the links that you may see me put on with the inspirational music channel, inspirational content, and the Urban Health channel. So there's 3 channels: the health channel, the music channel, and the inspirational channel, where you can just go, and there's no adult content or any negative stuff. It's all positive music, all inspirational content, from yoga, breathing, inspirational music. We're just trying to change the tone of dealing with kidney disease. So thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Today Tuesday. Have you ever thought, have you ever got mixed up recently with what day it is? It just seemed like the days are just going by so fast. I mean, tomorrow is already Wednesday. Lord, I was thinking today was Sunday just a minute ago. So thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Watch for a brand new episode tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Mental Health and Me with myself and Sade Cutler, licensed clinical social worker, from 7 to 8. And then at 8:30, Warriors Quest with Jared A. Brown. Check out that new logo he got for Warriors Quest. It's awesome, guys. We see you then. And thank you for watching. Angela, God bless you. Lawrence from the UK, thank you, man. Share our information in the UK, man. Blow us up over there, okay? As you say, mate, blow us up over there, man. So thank you for watching. God bless you guys. We see you soon. Peace. Then we'll go out with a PSA with all kidney warriors. And that's what we want to do. We want to create PSAs, documentaries, anything that spreads awareness and include you guys. But we need you to participate. God bless you. We hope you enjoy. Peace.